there, everybody, and welcome to a brand new deep dive.
Yes.
With me today, I have a returning guest
It's great to be back.
who is an expert in
Thanks for having me.
Buddhism and meditation.
Yeah.
And we're going to be taking a deep dive today into the teachings of Bhikshuni Thubten Chodron,
Right.
a Tibetan Buddhist nun.
Yes, exactly.
And we're going to be looking at how to apply some of her teachings to, well, I mean, honestly, just everyday life, like how to kind of deal with the struggles and the chaos of just, modern life.
Absolutely. So, yeah, there's a lot of wisdom there.
Yeah.
To unpack.
So one of the things that really jumped out at me in her writing was this concept of psychic existence.
Okay.
And it's basically like she breaks down like all the different components of what makes us, the body, feelings, perceptions, emotions, consciousness, and like the whole shebang.
Yeah, it's all interconnected, right?
Yeah.
All these different aspects.
Yeah. And then she really dives into the distinction between thoughts and feelings.
Yes.
And I think
Important distinction.
it's something that's so easy to kind of like gloss over.
Absolutely.
But she really emphasizes how important it is to recognize the difference between a thought and a feeling.
Yeah.
She even gives that example, like, I feel like, and then she's like, well, hold on a second. That's actually a thought, not a feeling.
Exactly.
And
it's
we're
like,
yeah, that is so true.
it's subtle, but it's so powerful.
It
Once you start to really pay attention to it,
is.
you realize how often we're kind of tangled up in our thoughts.
Yes.
Thinking that they're feelings.
Like mistaking them for reality when really they're just kind of like these fleeting things.
Exactly. They're like clouds. They
Right.
come and they go.
Yeah.
But we tend to grasp onto them
Yes.
and solidify them.
Yeah.
And give them so much power.
And so much weight.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so she's really encouraging us to kind of step back from that.
Right.
And to just observe those thoughts.
Yeah.
Without judgment.
Like noticing.
Without getting so caught up in them.
Without attaching to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just noticing them for what they are.
Right.
Which is just thoughts.
Yeah.
Not necessarily truth.
Yeah, because they can really lie to us, can't they?
They can. They absolutely can. And that's, I think, one of the biggest obstacles to personal growth.
Right.
Is that we believe our thoughts.
Yes.
Without questioning them.
Yeah.
And so when we can start to create that separation between our awareness and our thoughts,
Right.
that's when we can start to make choices
Yes.
that are more in alignment with who we truly are.
And who we want to be.
Exactly. Because
Right.
our thoughts, they're often, they're based on our past conditioning.
Totally.
Our fears, our
That's that.
insecurities, and all of that. Yeah.
So then how do we...
And so they're not always reliable.
Right.
They're not always accurate.
So how do we stop?
Yeah.
Because,
So how do we stop?
her writings are all about like this quest for like inner peace.
Yeah.
And like freedom from suffering.
Right.
And it seems like our thoughts can be a huge source of suffering.
They absolutely can be.
Yeah.
They're one of the primary sources of suffering
Right.
in Buddhist psychology.
So how do we stop letting them,
Yeah. It's a process.
make us miserable?
It's a practice, and it takes time.
Right.
But it starts with awareness,
Okay.
like we were talking about.
Yeah.
Noticing those thoughts as they arise without judgment.
Okay.
And then we can start to introduce other practices like mindfulness meditation,
Right.
which can help us to train our minds to be more present, to be more focused,
Yeah.
to be less reactive
And it's not about like
to those thoughts.
getting rid of the thoughts altogether.
Exactly. It's not about
Right.
It's not about emptying our minds.
Right. It's just about like,
Because that's impossible.
yeah,
Our minds are always going to produce thoughts.
changing our relationship.
It's like you can't stop the waves from coming, but you can learn to surf.
Oh,
Right.
I did that.
So we're not trying to stop the thoughts from coming.
Right.
We're just trying to learn how to ride them.
To ride the waves.
Ride the waves, exactly.
Instead of letting them crash down on us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And drown us.
I like that. Okay, so mindfulness. Noticing the thoughts without judgment.
Yes,
And this is something that anybody can do.
absolutely.
Right.
Anyone can do this.
It's not like you have to go to a monastery
You don't have to be a monk.
or be a certain...
You don't have to sit on a mountaintop.
Yeah.
You can do this in the midst of your everyday life.
Right.
While you're stuck in traffic.
Exactly.
While you're washing the dishes.
You can be mindful.
While you're, at the grocery store.
Right.
Wherever you are.
Okay.
You can bring that quality of awareness.
So it's like a muscle that you can develop.
Exactly. It's like a muscle.
Cool.
The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Awesome.
And the easier it becomes.
I like that. And she actually, in the book, gives some like concrete examples of like You know how to apply this?
He does.
So one of them that really stuck with me was she talks about this idea of asking why 5 times.
Yes, the 5 whys.
When you're feeling angry.
Powerful technique.
Okay, so walk me through that. Like, how would that work?
Okay, so let's say
I'm angry at my partner.
Okay, you're angry at your partner.
Right. Why? Because they left their dishes in the sink again.
Okay, because they left their dishes in the sink again. Why is that so upsetting?
Because I feel like I'm the only one who cares about keeping this place clean.
Okay, you feel like you're the only one who cares about keeping the place clean? Why is that so important to you?
I don't know. I guess it makes me feel like I'm not being seen or appreciated.
Okay, you're not being seen or appreciated. Why is that so painful? What does that bring up for you?
I mean, I guess it just makes me feel like I'm not good enough.
There you go.
Oh.
You see how we got there?
So it's not really about the dishes at all.
It's not about the dishes.
Yeah.
It's about something much deeper.
It's about my own, like, insecurities and stuff.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
So you see, by asking why 5 times,
Yeah.
we're able to peel back the layers.
It's like peeling an onion.
Exactly.
And what is at the root?
What's at the core of this anger? And often what we find is that it's not really about the other person at all.
Right.
It's about something within ourselves.
It's about our own stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
And once we can see that,
Yeah.
once we can bring that to awareness,
Yeah.
then we can start to heal it.
Oh.
We can start to address it.
Okay. Wow. I love that technique.
It's a powerful one.
It is powerful.
Yeah.
So asking why 5 times when you're angry?
Yes.
And then what about...
And that's just one example
Okay.
of many practices that she offers.
Right, because her books are full of all these different
Exact
techniques and things.
Yeah.
So what about...
It's a treasure trove of wisdom.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, what about this one? What are the 3 poisons?
The 3 poisons. Yeah, that's a big one.
Okay, so break that down for me.
So the 3 poisons in Buddhism are attachment, anger, and ignorance.
Okay.
And these are considered to be the root of all suffering.
Wow. Okay.
So attachment, we talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Clinging
right.
to things.
Our people.
To people, to ideas.
To our own perception of how things should be.
Exactly.
Right.
And when things don't go our way.
Yeah.
Or when we lose something that we're attached to.
Right.
That's when we experience suffering.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that fear of loss.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the fear of loss. That causes us to suffer.
Right.
And then anger. We've talked about that as well.
Yeah.
That arises when we feel like things are unfair. When we feel like we've been wronged.
Right.
When we're frustrated.
When we don't get what we want.
Exactly.
Right.
And then ignorance. That's a little bit more subtle.
Okay.
But it's basically the not knowing.
Okay.
The confusion.
Yeah.
The delusion.
So...
that keeps us trapped in the cycle of suffering.
So like not seeing things clearly.
Exactly.
Okay.
Not seeing the true nature of reality.
Gotcha.
And so these 3 poisons, they work together.
Yeah.
To keep us trapped in suffering.
So how do we break free?
That's the big question, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to be exploring in our deep dive today.
Awesome. I'm excited. Let's do it. Yeah. Let's do it. It's about understanding those poisons and then, like you said, figuring out like how to break free.
Yeah.
From their grip.
Okay. So where do we go from here? Where do we even begin?
Well, you know how we were talking about that difference between thoughts and feelings and how our thoughts can really kind of lead us astray.
Yeah.
She talks about this idea of like removing your homeland.
Removing your homeland?
Yeah, it's like...
What does it even mean?
So it's like this, imagine you've been living in the same house your whole life.
Okay.
And you know every nook and cranny,
every creak.
Every creaky step, every...
Right.
Every, like, raft under the door.
You know where all the light switches are, even in the dark.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You could walk through that house blindfolded.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah. But what if you've outgrown that house?
Okay.
What if that house is no longer serving you?
Okay.
But you're so used to it. You're so comfortable there.
That you don't even realize.
That
there's another option.
That there's a whole world out there.
Wow.
Beyond those walls.
Okay.
So removing your homeland is about recognizing those patterns.
Okay.
Those beliefs.
Those habits.
Those habits that we've been clinging to.
Right.
That are no longer serving us.
That might have served us at one point.
They might have, yeah.
Right. Like that house, it provided shelter.
Exactly.
It kept us safe.
It was familiar.
Right.
It's comfortable.
But
it's time to move on.
Okay, so how do we do that?
It takes courage.
Yeah.
It takes willingness to kind of step outside of our comfort zones.
Yeah. Right, because that homeland, even though it might be kind of dysfunctional.
It's familiar.
It's familiar.
And familiarity breeds comfort.
Right.
Even if it's a dysfunctional kind of comfort.
It's still comfort.
Right, exactly.
So to leave that behind is kind of scary.
It is scary, but it's also incredibly liberating.
Okay.
Because when we let go of those old patterns, those old beliefs,
Yeah.
we create space for something new to emerge.
Wow. Okay.
We create space for growth, for transformation,
I like that.
for possibility.
So it's like we're not just renovating the house.
Right.
We're like bulldozing it.
We're tearing it down.
And building something totally different.
Exactly.
Okay.
We're creating a new foundation,
I like that.
a new structure
Okay.
that's more in alignment with who we are now and who we want to become.
I love that, okay, removing your homeland, it's a process.
It's a journey.
It's a journey.
It's not a one-time event.
Right. It's not like you just wake up one day and you're like, I'm out of here.
Right, exactly.
It's like, you got to pack your bags.
It's a gradual process of letting go,
You got to.
of shedding those layers that no longer serve us.
Yeah, and sometimes you got to go back and like.
And sometimes you realize, oh, I thought I let go of that, but it's still there.
Yeah, like get rid of some more stuff.
Exactly.
Finish cleaning out that closet.
Exactly. I like that. Okay, so removing your homeland.
And she gives some really great tips and advice on how to actually do this.
Okay, like what?
Well, one of the things she talks about is simplifying our lives.
Okay.
Like really taking a look, like decluttering.
Decluttering, yes, but also decluttering our minds.
Okay, how do we declutter our minds?
Well, it starts with becoming aware of what we're filling our minds with.
Okay.
You know, what are we reading?
Right.
What are we watching?
What are we scrolling through?
What are we scrolling through?
Yeah.
Exactly. What are the conversations we're having?
Are we engaging in a lot of like negativity and drama?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's so, how can we start to shift that?
Okay.
How can we start to invite more positivity?
More mindfulness.
More mindfulness, more peace into our lives.
Okay. I like that.
And so simplifying our external environment can actually help with that.
Okay, so like what? Getting rid of stuff?
Getting rid of stuff,
Okay.
yeah. Like, do we really need all this stuff?
I mean, I don't know. I kind of like my stuff.
I know it's hard to let go, right?
It is hard.
But when we can start to let go of the things that we're clinging to,
Yeah.
it creates space for something new to come in.
Oh, I like that.
And that new thing might be...
That might not even be a thing.
It might not even be a thing.
Right.
It might be a new experience.
It might be a new relationship.
A new relationship.
A new opportunity.
A new opportunity.
Okay.
A new sense of peace.
I like that. So simplifying our lives.
Simplifying our lives.
Both internally and externally.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, simplifying things, it can be really powerful.
It can be. It's amazing how much our outer environment
totally
affect our inner state.
Yeah, like if my house is a mess,
right,
my mind feels like a mess.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so we were talking about...
And it works the other way around, too.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Like if our mind is cluttered,
right,
it's going to be harder to keep our surroundings clean and organized.
Okay, so it's like this whole mind-body connection thing.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's all interconnected.
So we got to declutter our minds, declutter our homes.
Yes.
And what else? What were we talking about?
We're talking about removing our homeland.
Right, right.
And, you know, another big part of that is about the company we keep.
Okay.
Because our relationships have a huge impact.
They do.
On our spiritual growth.
Yeah.
You know?
For better or for worse.
For better or for worse, exactly.
Yeah.
And she talks about this idea of like bad friends versus spiritual friends.
Okay, bad friends.
Yeah, like we all have those friends.
We do. We all have them.
Who are maybe not the best influence.
Right. Who, you know, they might be fun to hang out with.
Yeah.
But
that they're not really
really helping us to grow.
Right. They're not like challenging us to be better.
Exactly.
Or inspiring us.
They might even be enabling some of our less skillful habits.
Okay.
You know, so she's not saying we have to like ditch all our friends who aren't like on the same spiritual path as us.
Right, because then we'd have like no friends.
Right, exactly.
Right.
But she is encouraging us to be mindful of the company we keep.
Okay.
And to make sure that we're also spending time with people.
With people who lift us up.
Who inspire us.
Yeah.
Who challenge us to grow.
Spiritual friends.
Spiritual friends. Yeah.
Okay, I like that. People who kind of reflect back to us.
Right.
The best version of ourselves.
Oh, interesting.
You know?
Okay.
The people who see our potential.
Yeah.
Even when we don't see it ourselves.
Right.
And who encourage us.
To be our best selves.
To be our best selves.
Okay. Yeah, that's great.
Those are the friends we want to be cultivating.
Yes,
relationships with.
Okay, so be mindful of the company we keep, cultivate those spiritual friendships.
Yes.
And then what else she talks about?
And she talks about this idea of compassion.
Compassion, okay.
Yeah, which is like...
Because that seems to be like a really big...
It's central to...
Demon in Buddhism.
To Buddhist teachings.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she emphasizes that compassion isn't just about being nice to people.
Okay.
It's not just about like...
It's deeper than that.
It's deeper than that. It's about really seeing the suffering of others.
Okay.
And feeling moved to do something about it.
To help.
To help, yeah.
Okay.
Even if it's just like offering a kind word.
Right.
Or a listening ear.
Yeah.
Or just like holding space for them.
Just being present.
Being present with their suffering.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without judgment.
Without trying to fix it.
Without trying to fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And I think that's something that...
That's hard.
It's hard, especially in today's world.
It is.
Where everything's so fast-paced and everybody's so busy.
Right.
And
everybody's kind of like caught up in their own little bubbles.
Right. Yeah. It's easy to get caught up in our own stuff.
It is. It is. But she's really encouraging us to kind of like...
To expand our circle of compassion.
Expand our hearts.
Yeah.
To include all beings.
Wow. So it's not just about...
Not just our friends and family.
Friends and family.
But like even our enemies.
Oh, okay.
Even strangers.
Or even people who we might disagree with
on
like important issues.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay.
Because at the end of the day...
We're all connected.
We're all connected.
Yeah.
We all want to be happy.
Right.
We all want to avoid suffering.
Nobody wants to suffer.
Nobody wants to suffer.
Right.
And so when we can remember that,
it
becomes easier to feel compassion.
Even for those who we perceive as different.
Exactly.
Wow, that's powerful.
It is powerful.
Okay, so compassion, huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
And you know, she also talks about this idea of like turning adversity into joy.
Turning adversity into joy. Okay.
Which sounds kind of impossible.
It does sound kind of like, are you kidding?
Right, like how can we find joy in suffering?
Right, yeah. When things are hard, you just want to like...
You want to crawl into a hole.
Yeah, you want to hide.
And hide. Yeah. But she's saying that actually it's in those moments of adversity that we have the greatest opportunity.
For growth.
For growth, for transformation.
Okay.
For awakening.
So it's like, those are the moments that really like test us.
Exactly.
That show us. It's like what we're made of.
What we're really made of.
Yeah.
You know, are we going to let those challenges break us?
Right.
Or are we going to let them make us stronger?
Ah, wow. I love that.
Yeah. So it's about shifting our perspective from seeing adversity as something to be feared to seeing it as an opportunity.
As a teacher.
As a teacher.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So turning adversity into joy.
Into joy.
And that's a practice.
It's a practice.
Right. It's not like you just wake up one day and you're like, bring on the suffering. I'm ready for joy.
Right. Exactly. It's like, you know, it's something that you have to cultivate.
It takes time.
Yeah.
It takes patience.
It takes practice. Yeah.
It takes practice.
Wow. This has been amazing.
It's been a deep dive.
It has been a deep dive into the teachings of Bhikshuni Thubten Chodron.
Yes.
I feel like I've learned so much.
Me too.
And I hope that our listeners have as well.
I hope so too.
So much wisdom to unpack here.
Yeah, there really is. And, you know, I encourage everyone to kind of like take some time to sit with these teachings.
Yeah, let it all sink in.
Let it marinate.
Marinate, yeah.
And see how you can apply it to your own life.
Exactly.
Because that's really what it's all about.
It's not just about like intellectual knowledge.
Right. It's about embodiment.
It's about putting it into practice.
Yeah, living it.
Living it, exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
It's always so good to talk to you.
Likewise.
And to all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
And until next time, keep exploring.
Keep diving deep.
The wisdom within.
Thank you for watching. If you're passionate about learning and want to level up your knowledge, make sure to hit that subscribe button. On our channel, we break down the best books into easy-to-digest summaries that will help you become smarter, think critically, and make better decisions. Don't miss out on your chance to grow and stay ahead.